Welcome everybody to this week's drumming and meditation episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Julien Lepage and I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for tuning into Circles of Rhythm. So we're just going to start with a little bit of grounding drumming. So if you have a frame drum, please, I encourage you to grab one of these. Just join in with me just to kind of ground the energy, get us here in the space. There's been a lot going on for me and I just need to kind of get into the space, if that's okay. So come on in. Awesome. I feel better already. So this week we are so lucky to have Judy Atkinson joining us again for another meditation, and we're going to bring her in after this. But first, I'd really like for us we talked about last week setting a posture and that kind of placing ourselves in a position of openness. And I'd like to go a step further, if you will, to shift our perspective. So now our posture is kind of an internal thing from our hearts, our minds, our spirit, but shifting our perspective, looking at things from a different lens. Right now, there's a lot of things that are happening and that can cause a lot of difficulty and challenges for many people for many different reasons. And having 3 kids at home all the time, 24/7, trust me, I can attest for the fact that there's some challenges out there in the season, and still working full time and everything else like that. But Judy and I were talking, and we really want you to focus on allowing yourselves to have more of that evolutionary perspective, where, you know what, there's something bigger at play. There's something else happening, something beautiful happening. You know, many conversations out there, people are saying how things are changing and how things are different and how things are uncomfortable. But if you look at it from an evolutionary standpoint, when we put ourselves in a place of discomfort, that's when we evolve. That's when we change. That's where we find new ways of doing things. And so I encourage you all to posture yourselves in a place where, you know what, there's something bigger at play here. And if we can stick together and really work through this, things are going to change for the better. Usually things that bring a significant challenge, we usually come out of those challenging moments better. And so with that, grab a drum and just join in with a nice steady pulse on the drum with me. And we're going to play a little bit and kind of allow ourselves to get into that space of the evolutionary perspective. And just that's an acknowledgement that everything is as it is today. We can't change it. There's nothing we can do. All we can do is be here and now. And so let's do that first, and then we're going to go from there. Okay. So when we allow ourselves to shift from the place of crisis, the place of fear, a place of maybe worry or anxiety or panic, and we bring ourselves to the here and now, you know, it's almost like that fear slips away, that worry slips away, and we're able to just kind of relax a little bit and settle and just kind of look around and say, you know, there's a lot of things going on out there, but what's in my control, what's in my space right now is manageable. I can manage it. So allowing ourselves to have a perspective where we can kind of look at what's within our reach, and not getting too bothered about what's happening out there. It's important to stay informed. And I don't know if you were following some of these Three Amigos podcasts, but Trevor Uruski, one of our special guests on the earlier episodes, said, you know, it's about a balance. It's about finding that space in between. So staying informed as to what's going on out there. And that could be not just in this COVID-19 season, but it could be something that we can bring into our lives all the time. So to stay informed, to stay aware in terms of media and things that are going on in the world, and then bringing ourselves back to the here and now. And looking at what's within our power, what's within our control. So I find that for me, drumming is a really good way to bring me in the here and now. So that was an easy rhythm, a fun little rhythm for me to play, but you probably had a little bit of fun, hopefully, playing with it. And so let's just bring in another evolution on the bongos and see what happens. Here we go. I just can't help myself but to smile when I hear those bongos and play those bongos. It's just such a happy sounding instrument. And really, you could see it happen. You know, I get in my head sometimes when I explain some of these things, and I want to be able to teach something, and I'm in my ego, and I want to make sure that I'm helping people out there. But really, though, all of that doesn't matter. All we need to do is play and to be in the moment. So come on in and be in the moment. Another deep breath in, breathing in, and exhaling out. Nice. Beautiful. Going back to what works. And so for some, drumming can be helpful, but I really hope that you're going back to some of the things that are helpful out there. The sun is shining. If you're going out for walks, great. If you're painting, excellent. If you're doing yoga, if you're doing stretching, excellent. But one of the biggest things that I find helps is just to stop. Moments out of the time. People ask me, Julien, do you ever do meditations? And I'm like, well, you know, I never get a formal sit-down meditation, but I often meditate and stop and focus on my breath multiple times throughout the day. And that's what kind of keeps me, as much as I can, in the space of stillness and kind of keeps my stress down. So, bigger picture, there's a lot of chaos happening, but also there's an evolutionary perspective. Things are changing, things are moving, and once we get out of this, because there is an end in sight, we can almost taste it, we can see it. Once we get out of this, we're going to be better. There's going to be changes and evolutionary movement, and we're already seeing it in the methods of communication, in the methods of transportation, in the methods that we're delivering services. There's a lot of really good changes that are going to come out of this, and there might be a huge, you know, learning curve, and maybe an opportunity for us to kind of swing back, perhaps with the economics, from an economic standpoint. You know, it's going to be, you know, it's going to take some time, but at the same time, if we can allow ourselves to just say, you know what, I don't need to have it all right now. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And so allowing ourselves to pace ourselves with it. So the final thing that I really want to touch on this week is just that, you know what, this is about shifting from a place of crisis to a place of collaboration, a place of community, a place of cooperation, where things come together and play as one. And so when you hear me play these drums, you know, you got the bass tone, you've got the high tone, and then you've got the bongos. And then that can represent different things, different ingredients. But when we bring them together, that creates a sense of cooperation, a sense of collaboration, a sense of community. And that's happening everywhere around us. And so we just need to allow ourselves to stop and see how there's a synergy happening within our space. So let's bring it back to the drum. Nice. So, if for the next week you can do this, you can focus on stopping, you can focus on that evolutionary perspective where you're focusing on how this isn't the end, this is just the beginning, a new beginning of something great and beautiful to come. and allow yourselves to kind of move into that space where you can, as much as you can. And yeah, just be kind to yourselves in these next few weeks to come. I myself, and I'm quite eager to get back to normalcy, but at the same time, let's stick with this a little bit longer so that we can come back as a community, because I miss you guys and I want to see you guys on Friday nights, and I want to do some workshops. And just a little plug, maybe if we can start doing some small drum circle gatherings in your home, Circles of Rhythm could hopefully get a little bit of an income going that way, and that would help us out a lot as well. And hopefully we can get those drums being used again. So we're going to bring in Judy. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to bring out the singing bowl, maybe the flute a little bit for Judy's meditation. Here we go.
Hello everyone, it's Judy Atkinson here, and I'm so grateful that Julien is putting these drumming meditation videos together for you, and I'm so grateful to be able to contribute. I'm also so grateful for you showing up. What would be the point of doing these if you didn't appreciate them and show up to get the benefit that you can from them? Tonight, I really think it's important that as this coronavirus pandemic, this unprecedented experience that we're all having continues, that we dig deeper and deeper into all kinds of awarenesses and awakenings and frustrations and deep difficulties, deep dives of pain and existential angst, and asking questions and sorting things out, watching the news and hearing all the pain and suffering that's going on outside of you, let alone inside your own home, within your own heart and in your own family. This is a very micro view of what's going on, and that's what so many of us are focused on. Our conversations are all around the pandemic, and everything we talk about is about this pandemic, which is understandable. But I think it's really important that we get a bigger picture perspective on what's going on here, so that every day we take time to consciously step out of the minuscule, the huge difficulties of what's happening in our world and get a bigger picture, so that we can get some perspective and have some relief in the stressors and the hormones running through our body, playing havoc with our health and our emotional life and our relationships, and sit back and take a bigger perspective. So tonight, I'm going to talk just for a moment about one of many different ways of doing that. And then I'm going to walk you through just a gentle body relaxation and a silence meditation, where you move out of mindfulness, out of thinking and considering all the things that I'm sharing, and just feeling it, just feeling into the reality of the big picture, as well as the small picture that we're all living in. We'll take some silence together with Julien playing so beautifully sounds in the background. And then I'll interrupt just shortly for a short piece to move you into the next and the last phase of this evening, which will be complete silence. So I will time us for 3 full minutes in complete silence at the end of this meditation. Julien will ring a bell or a Tibetan bowl at the end 3 times, 3 gongs, and that will be your indication that the meditation in its formal sense is over. We will turn off the video, but you will continue as long as you want in your own space to stay in this beautiful silence, considering that there is something much bigger going on here that you can find some solace and comfort in moving forward this next week. So, with all that said, I invite you all right now to just sit back and get really comfortable. Make sure your back is supported, your heart is out, and that you loosen up your shoulders, your neck, taking out any of the wrinkles and kinks, stiffness and soreness that you may have in your body, and taking a nice deep breath with me. And letting it out. Taking in another one, and as you let out this time, closing your eyes. So breathing in and letting your eyes close. One more time, breathing in. Sinking into your chair and letting your feet plant firmly on the floor, or if your legs are folded, feeling your stability as you sit in your position on the floor. This coronavirus is not a symptom. It is one of many symptoms of what's going on the planet right now. There's so many indicators that there's something bigger going on this planet. The environmental issues, political, economic, educational, healthcare, the struggles around the world are an indication that there's big change going on the planet right now. We have just moved from one era of human evolution, from the development of science, technology, and materialism, into a new era that we are being born into, the era of collaboration, community, and cooperation. That is a long journey from where we've been over the last 2,000 or 3,000 years to where we're headed right now. For sure, we are headed to an amazing place. So if you look at what's happening on the planet right now from the perspective of our evolution as a human species and the evolution of the planet itself, you must stop and realize that over 400 million years ago when the planet supposedly came into existence, there have been 5 mass extinctions or transformations on this planet, and we're in our 6th. It's millions of years, this cycle, so this coronavirus is not taking us all out. We're not reaching the end of the world right now. This is a symptom of a much bigger transformation happening, and it is thrilling and exciting. It's also extremely painful. As every woman who's birthed a child knows, when that baby starts moving down the birth canal, it's scary, it's painful, it's uncertain. You don't know for sure if that baby's going to be born, and when it is, what it's going to look like, if it will be well and healthy. There's so much uncertainty and pain, so much change and transformation happening in your body in that moment. You're overwhelmed and out of control. But in the back of your mind and in your heart and soul, you know that there is a baby being born. There is a new life coming through you into the world. It's the most thrilling experience I have ever had. And that is what's happening with humanity right now, and with the earth as she is feeling the pain and the ache of this birthing process. So please be reassured that what's happening is part of a much bigger picture. Be respectful and kind, compassionate to others and to yourself as we move through this difficult time. Sit back and know this is part of a beautiful birthing process of a new human spirit. More collaboration, more community, more real, authentic cooperation and community is just around the corner, and it's already happening. If you open your eyes and your ears and your heart wide enough, you'll see it already happening in areas all over your life and all over the world. So with that beautiful big perspective in mind, I'm going to move into our mindfulness moment and then silence. So I invite you now to once again be aware of your body, of your breath rising and falling naturally in your chest. Take one big breath with me right now as we transition from this idea and these thoughts into your body and into moving into stillness and silence. If you feel comfortable, just put a little smile on your face, knowing that this is true and this is all good. Put your attention in your feet and feel your feet on the floor. If you have shoes and socks on, feel that texture against your skin. And moving your attention up now through the lower legs, the shins and the calves, into the knees and the thighs, the hamstrings, into the glutes, and into your lower back and your abdomen, your hips, the digestive system. Taking a deep breath now and moving up into the heart and the lungs, the shoulders, the neck, the upper back. Moving up the back of your neck and over your skull down to your forehead, softening the crease in your brow, lightening the load. Feeling your tongue and your mouth and your lips relaxing. Feel the back of your throat. Feel the air moving in and out of your nostrils. Cool, moist air moving in. Warm, moist air moving out. And now just sink down into the area of your heart. And sit with this inner knowing of this big perspective. Seeing yourself sitting on a hillside looking out over those beautiful white mountains with a blue sky. Knowing that in the midst of all the struggle, something very big and beautiful is going on. Stay with the big and beautiful as you breathe gently and rhythmically and naturally. And listen to the music Julien is creating. If your mind wanders, simply come back to your breath, to the sound of the music. Be still. Rest now. You deserve a rest. And now, ever so gently, we will move into complete silence. No sound. Letting yourself be completely still. No worries. Watching your breath and resting in peace. I hold you all in my heart until we meet again. Sawubona, brothers and sisters. I see you.